This portion of Local Lifestyles is sponsored by Evansville Hearing Aid Center.
Hearing aid technology and hearing accessories just get better and better. Amanda Bennett is the owner of Evansville Hearing Aid Center on Stringtown Road, and she's here to talk about some of the new stuff and cool stuff besides the hearing aids.
Yes.
Always good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Always good to hear you.
Yes. Yes.
As well. When we do talk about the advances in hearing aid technology, that all of that smart stuff is inside that tiny little hearing aid, and it's amazing.
Yes, it is amazing. And, you know, a lot of people have the question of why are hearing aids so expensive? Well, it takes a lot of research. The actual product doesn't probably cost all that much to make, but it's the research that goes in to making them so small. Everybody wants smaller, smarter, faster.
Right.
So with that, you know, comes a lot of research. They put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours into the research before they even release a hearing aid to the market.
And we appreciate it for those of us who are hearing aid wearers.
That's right.
I mean, I've been wearing them for years, as you know, and the first was I thought were the best things ever, but wowza, what these can do.
Yes, and then the new line that was just released is even more natural sounding, because I thought the ones that you have, like, how different can they be? But now that I've fit several of them, everybody is coming back to me saying these are amazing, but the best thing about it is that they are considered waterproof.
Wow,
so,
and that's big.
Now, swimming and stuff like that, you still want to keep them dry, but we have some heavy sweaters, you know, a lot of...
Sure.
I have a guy that drives a truck, he unloads trucks, he sweats consistently. We have trouble a lot with the hearing aids. So now he can sweat in them, and they do not shut off. He doesn't have problems with them. He can hear all day because he needs them to hear.
Right, for his life work.
Yeah, I mean, he has to have them in. It's not one of those things like he can hear without them. He has to have them in to communicate. Right. So it's a big deal.
Well, and you know, I don't normally ask you about the accessories and other things that people come to you for. So, you know, I know safety gear.
Yes,
right?
Yeah. So we have a whole line of sound gear, which is custom hearing protection, that they go all the way from custom to where they amplify a little bit. So big hunters that hunt a lot, you know, they like to be able to take their hearing aids off. They can put the custom sound gear on. It still amplifies, but when the gun shoots, it compresses.
Which is where the problem occurs. Is
yes,
when you have that,
yes,
right?
Exactly. So what happens is with hearing aids, people will say, why don't hearing aids do that? Well, you don't want your hearing aids to be going off and on all day long. So we can't eliminate sound. So you're going to hear sound throughout the day that's higher than the decibel rating to where it should be protected. But you don't want to feel like your hearing aids are pumping all day. That's why there's a separate line of sound gear for hearing protection, because it will shut down at those lower decibel levels.
It's genius.
So,
it really is.
Yeah.
It just is genius. Tell me about, and speaking of genius, was it a Genesis or a Genius? The piece?
Genesis AI.
Okay, and that is?
That's the new hearing aid that was just released that's waterproof. They actually learned how to use the deep neural network of our brain. So on the computer chip, it actually hears like our natural hearing hears instead of bypassing some of that stuff. So these are the most natural sounding hearing aids. I've actually had people call me and say, they actually understand what quiet is now, because whenever it gets quiet, it's actually quiet, like they feel like their hearing aids aren't even working, but that's just because they can hear quiet now instead of hearing circuit running, all that kind of stuff.
Can't wait to try them, Amanda.
Yes, I will be glad to have you in to have you try some.
I got to try it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stringtown Road, Evansville Hearing Aid Center. We'll be back to celebrate with the Big Top right after this.
This portion of Local Lifestyles is sponsored by Evansville Hearing Aid Center.